Hi there, I'm Angela Brown, and this is Ask a House Cleaner. This is a show where you get to ask a house cleaning question, and I get to help you find an answer. Now, today's question comes from a homeowner who wants to know, how does the self-cleaning oven work? Well, the self-cleaning oven goes back to about 1963, and I believe that General Electric was the first one that introduced one to the market. And there are two types of self-cleaning ovens now on the market. There's the traditional one that most of us have, and then there's a steam cleaning self-cleaning oven. And we'll talk about both of those. But first of all, let's talk about the one that most of us have. If you've purchased an oven in the last, let's say 10 or 15 years, you probably have one that has a self-cleaning cycle. Now, how it works is this. The inside of the oven has an enamel coating, which makes things easy to come off once they are loosened or softened or what have you. So let's say that, for example, you're cooking a pie, a berry pie, and there's berry toppings that ooze out from your pie and it falls onto the floor of your oven. What happens as you cook that pie, the bottom stuff that has oozed out turns into kind of a crystal substance. And it just gets baked and it gets hard and crusty and it turns brown. And it's very difficult to get off the bottom floor of your oven. And this happens like if you cook yams or if you have pizza toppings that drop. Anything while you're cooking that drops to the bottom floor of your pan, it now gets burnt up and overcooked because it's just too hot down there. So when you hit the self-cleaning oven cycle, what happens is it normally takes about 2 to 4 hours and it heats up your oven to about 1,000 degrees, which is super hot. And because it's super hot, the oven door actually locks during the self-cleaning cycle. And it does this to protect you and your children. Because if your children were to come in and open the oven door during the self-cleaning cycle and 1,000-degree heat blew out at them, it could burn them really badly and probably cinch off all of their eyelashes and their eyebrows. So that would be super scary. Don't open the door during a self-cleaning cycle. So it locks to protect you. Another thing that you might consider is that while the oven is heating up that hot, it's a confined box. So you want to make sure that you have proper ventilation around your stove. Maybe pull your stove out from the wall so it's not backed up against the wall because 1,000-degree heat is really hot. And by personal experience, I can share this with you. I have been in a home with a self-cleaning oven that overheated, and it overheated the cabinets next to it. And it caught the cabinets next to it on fire. And by the time the fire was stopped, because it was an electrical fire, and now that it's that hot, there was no way to pull the stove out from the wall and unplug it because it was too hot. Because it was too hot, the fire department had to come in and bash through the wall from the garage into the kitchen so that they could turn that electrical unit off and stop the fire. And so the whole entire kitchen had to be replaced and it nearly burnt down the whole house. So that is one of the risks of using a self-cleaning oven. I'm not saying it will always happen, but it did happen to me once and scared the living daylights out of me. Okay, so one of the other things that you might consider is that even though it's burning up all this stuff and turning it into ash, it's also creating a lot of fumes and smoke. And so you want to make sure that you have proper ventilation in the house so that these fumes don't set off the fire alarm in your house, even if it's not catching your cupboards on fire. All right, so the other kind of self-cleaning oven, it also has an enamel coating on the inside, and this is a steam cleaning oven. And so instead of just burning up all the junk that's in there, it puts off a steam. And so the steam soaks the stuff that's on the walls, and basically all the liquid falls to the bottom of the floor pan, and it's kind of like soaking a pan in the kitchen sink when you're like soaking dirty dishes. So it's the same concept. So when you're done with the steam cleaning, and this is only like 20 minutes to an hour for the steam cleaning cycle of a self-cleaning oven, and it only heats up to about 250 degrees, so it's not nearly as hot. So since it's not nearly as hot and it doesn't do nearly as good a job either, so when you're done, yeah, you still have some stuff at the bottom that you have to scrub away, and because it's steam, it doesn't really do anything for the walls and the ceiling and the back of your oven. Basically, it just does a great job on the floor pan. So is that the best way to go? Probably not. So there are other ways to clean an oven. There's a toxic way, which is the most popular way. And the toxic way is to buy a can of oven spray at your local grocery store and to heat up your oven to about 200 or 400 degrees, to spray the insides of the walls, let it set for about 20 or 30 minutes, and then wipe everything down. Now, that doesn't do 100% either. When you're done, you still need SOS pads, and you will have to still use some elbow grease and scrub the inside of the stove. So there aren't a lot of 100% foolproof ways. The non-toxic way to do it is to create a paste out of baking soda, and I'll put a recipe in the show notes so that you can make your own recipe. You put a baking soda paste on the bottom and the walls of your oven, and then you spray it with vinegar, and that activates it like a little volcano. And with the heat and the activation, that loosens everything up, and then you scrub it. Again, it's not 100%. You still have to do some scrubbing, but it's going to be not have as many fumes as the stuff that you spray. Now, here's a word to the wise. If you have an oven that has a self-cleaning mechanism to it, and you have used already an aerosol spray for the oven cleaning, do not use the self-cleaning oven option, because as it heats up to 1,000 degrees, it will find elements and traces of that in the oven, and it will create toxic fumes that are unbelievable. So you get a choice, the self-cleaning oven or the spray, or you can do the non-toxic method with the baking soda and the vinegar. But don't do the spray and the self-cleaning oven, because you will totally regret that too. This happened in another experience. I've been doing this for 25 years, so I've had lots of experiences. But in another experience, the spray had once been used. Then the self-cleaning oven was used, and the fumes were so toxic that the people had to sleep outside in the garage that night because the fumes were so intense inside their house once the oven heated up that hot that they couldn't honestly breathe at all. And they had every door and every window open in their house just to try to ventilate and get rid of that smell. So don't do that either. All right, so what do I recommend? I recommend once your oven is clean, the easiest way to clean your oven is to maintain it. And so instead of putting aluminum foil or something like that in the bottom of your oven, which is an okay idea, but I don't recommend it because of the aluminum foil, what I recommend are the silicone baking sheets that slide right in the bottom of the oven. It's an oven liner designed for ovens. And as you cook those pies and the berry juice and the stuff falls down from your yams and your pizzas and the stuff that you're cooking, it will land on there and it becomes hard. And the silicone baking sheets allow you just to kind of bend it and the stuff pops off into your garbage can once it's dry and cool. And then you can take those sheets and put them right in the dishwasher. They're 100% dishwasher safe. And I'll put links in the show notes to those as well, because you can get 2 of them for about $10 on Amazon. And so what happens is you just keep those clean, slide those in the bottom of your oven. When the stuff falls, you take your food out, you wait till your oven cools, take the baking sheets out, pop the stuff off, put them in your dishwasher, put them back in your oven. And that's the easiest way to clean your oven. So how does the self-cleaning oven work? Well, the self-cleaning oven works based on heat. And I should also mention, because you're using it at 1,000 degrees, an oven was not designed for 1,000 degrees. Our normal cooking is 350 to 400 degrees. So if you're cooking something at 1,000 degrees for 2 to 4 hours, what you're doing is you're taxing the heating element to its max. And a lot of times those heating elements will then blow after a cleaning. And so to replace the heating element of your oven, it costs more to replace the heating element than it does to buy a whole new oven. So, and it happens multiple times to multiple people I've known. It's like when you take a road trip and you're gone for 4 hours and you're using your GPS system on your phone the whole way. When you get to your final destination, your battery is completely drained because you have taxed your phone to do something it was not designed to do. Yes, it can do it, but it was not designed to do that. Thus, it sucks all the juice and all the power out. It's the same with your oven. Your oven was not designed to go for 4 hours at 1,000 degree heat. It just wasn't. And then think about the energy that consumes to heat up your house or to heat up your oven at 1,000 degree temperature for 4 hours. that's just putting a huge drain on your electricity, right? And it costs a lot of money. So what I recommend really is the silicone baking sheet and keep it clean as you go. If you have a couple little things that fall here and there, wipe them up as you go and maintain it as you go so that you don't have big toxic projects that you have to do. All right, so I hope that helps. And that is my tip for today. And until we meet again, leave the world a cleaner place than when you found it.